Well, we're standing by here now for what is a stunningly attractive men's 10,000 metre final. One of the favourites, the double European champion Salvatore Antibo, and ahead of them 25 laps in what is pretty high humidity. It's quite hot, not suffocatingly hot, and the local time is 10 past 8 at night, so it's cooled down a good deal. 29 years of age, Antibo, 5 and 10,000 metre European champion from Palermo. Addis Abebe, and of course so many runners that they're having to start on a stagger. You often see that these days even on the Grand Prix. Two of the top 4 men on times of all time here in Chelimo and Antibo, and Khalid Skah, twice the world cross-country champion. He's many people's idea of the gold medalist, the Moroccan who's fast at any distance you like from 3 to 10,000 metres. 4:43 in your picture there is Richard Nerurkar from Britain, who's run consistently well, but he really is in at the deep end here. Richard Chelimo, number 2 all time, and the fastest in the world this year at a stunning 27 minutes and 11 seconds at only 19 years of age. Big African threat here, and 20 runners. Antibo, the main European hope. The World Championship 10,000 metre final for men of 1991 in Tokyo. 25 laps of the track. The event won by the Italian Alberto Cova for Italy in 1983, and for Paul Kipkoech of Kenya in 1987, who ran a quite brilliant tactical race full of surges which the other runners could never come to terms with. And the early leader is Salvatore Antibo, who likes to play a few mind games of his own with the other runners up front. In fact, somebody was saying the other day, and I agree with it, Antibo really is a European with an African-style approach to it all.
Certainly is, and he's tracked here by 3 other Africans, and he's going off at a pretty quick pace. Now, whether he wants to sustain this or whether he just wants to sort out this big field a bit, that's pretty good tactics. Make sure you don't get too much chopping and barging around, because if you do that, you could be in trouble. So it's Antibo followed by Khalid Skah, and a quick first lap, 62.76.
And then the 2 Kenyans come after those, with Moses Tanui up there as well as Osano. Then Hammou Boutayeb, Abebe in the first 6 as well. Then Franke, and Antibo is making this quite quick, and they're already Indian file, and they're only on the 2nd lap.
Yes, and it's Antibo followed by, what, 7 Africans then immediately after that. Salvatore Antibo taking it out. Well, this is world record type pace. That's not to say we're expecting a world record or anything like that. I'm just saying that Antibo is taking them through at that pace, at least to the start. Be interesting to see how long he's prepared to take it out of this pace, and when he wants to step back and let someone else do the work.
Well, every Italian everywhere in the world will be right behind Antibo here. They call him Toto, just like the footballer Schillaci, who was also from Sicily and who was the hero of the World Cup. Antibo in the lead, Khalid Skah watching him. And right up there too, Richard Chelimo, and 2 laps gone.
Quite interesting, the second 800 metres was very much slower than the first, 67 second, and it is indeed the case that Antibo has stepped back and he's let the Kenyans take over. Good tactics. Kenyan numbers to look out for. Thomas Osano wears 718, Moses Tanui wears 723, Richard Chelimo wears 698.
And that's the number that's at the front at the moment. Chelimo, who has sent shockwaves around the distance scene. He was shut out of the Zurich meeting because of a row between his agent John Bycourt and the Zurich promoter Resbrugger. But Chelimo up there in the early stages. Also with him is Moses Tanui in second place. Khalid Skah just makes a forward move, wants to stay close to those 2 Kenyans, and Tibo's dropped back to 5th place at this stage.
Yeah, and they passed the kilometre in 2 minutes 41.96. Well, 2:42 is exactly 27-minute pace. In other words, world record pace.
Well, can they live with this? Chelimo is really going for it. He's asking the others, I'm going to run a fast race here. I'm going to burn up the track. If you can live with this, good for you. If you can't, it's my gold medal. But can Chelimo himself keep up with this relentless pressure? That's the question. Chelimo 1, Moses Tanui 2, Khalid Skah 3, Hammou Boutayeb, the veteran Moroccan who was persuaded to take up serious athletics late by Saïd Ouita, his Moroccan teammate. He's in 4th place at the moment. Antibo back in about 6th, looking back. Eamonn Martin, the Commonwealth champion, is biding his time and perhaps sensibly not trying to go with this too hot early pace. He's back in about 10th place at the moment, running with his British teammate Richard Nerurkar.
Yes, it's a fascinating race, isn't it? It's many of the great runners here, but we've got those green and red colours at the front. The green and red of Kenya, the green and red also of Morocco. Different quarters, of course, but what a pace this youngster is making. He's made a devastating impact on the scene. He came through as a junior in the World Junior Cross Country Championships. He's still a junior, we think, but he took part in the senior race this time, came 2nd. He smashed World Junior records at 5,000 and 10,000. But here comes Antibo again. Antibo's had his little rest. He's come up past the others. He's come into 2nd place. I think he'd probably be quite happy to sit on the shoulders of Chelimo, or will he go past him? No, he said, I want to show you that there are other runners in this race. This is tactics. This is where he stamps his authority on the race. He says to Chelimo, even though it's quick, hey, I'm the man you got to fear. I'm number 1. I'm Salvatore Antibo.
Yeah, it was really impressive from Antibo. He was languishing in about 7th place. He put in a very quick 200 and he was 1st. But now it changes again. And Chelimo says to him, oh no you don't. I'm going to go back to the front. And we really do have mind games of a high order going on out there at the moment. Chelimo, Antibo and Skah 1, 2, 3.
Inside 27-minute pace, inside world record pace, 5 minutes 21.13, 5:24 is 27-minute pace. And that's well inside the world record at that, let me say.
But are some of them cutting their own throats, Peter?
Yes, but maybe not all of them. That's the important point.
Well, Antibo and Chelimo and Skah must be confident that they can go this kind of pace. Of course, 1 or 2 of them may not have gone out with these kind of options in mind, but they've just had to go with it because the challenge has been laid down and they don't want to lay too far off the pace. And look at the gap now that Chelimo has opened up. He really must be putting in a big lap here. This is like Kipkoech, the Kenyan 4 years ago, and he's opened up a gap of something like 10 metres over Antibo, but Antibo has shown before that he can just suddenly reel the leaders back in. He just runs in surges. Skah's gone into 2nd. Moses Tanui's up there as well in 4th place. Osano, the other Kenyan too. And Ntawulikura is running a good race. Then Abebe, Nizigama and Chelimo's lead, Peter, at the moment, is about 20 metres.
Yes, it was a 64-second lap. It was, well, inside world record pace. Hey, we're not going quick enough, chaps. That's ridiculous. Or is it? Or is this one of the greatest finds the world has ever seen in the world of distance running? Look at Antibo again. He's gaining ground on him. He's catching him. But I have to say that at world record pace, surging is surely sapping of the strength. But of course, this is all about one man against another. Well, you could argue 20 men against another, except 5 of them are already nearly 100 metres down.
Well, Chelimo's either mad or a genius, and we'll know the answer to that in 19 laps' time.
Look at that phalanx of Africans there before we come to Eamonn Martin and then the Japanese runners. The rest of the Europeans and the Asians are well behind. It's only Salvatore Antibo who's mixing it with the Africans.
This already is a classic. Chelimo won for Kenya. Antibo, make no mistake, he's not finished with yet. The Italian European champion in second place. Khalid Skah, who has not run so much in surges, just kept that same high pace up there in third place. Moses Tanui 4, Osano, Kenya 5, Ntawulikura, Rwanda 6. What a race he's running. And Nizigama from Burundi. He looked confident in qualifying, and he's running very well here again. Hammou Boutayeb beginning to drop back a bit, so too is Abebe. Nerurkar is the first of the Britons, but he's a little way off the chasing pack, and Eamonn Martin at this stage, the Commonwealth champion, is slipping back and has lots and lots of work to do already.
Well, this is a tremendous demonstration here by Chelimo. He's running away from some of the greatest runners we've ever seen. He's opening up a lead of, what is it now, something like 30 metres, but of course there's an awful long way to go. The lap clock shows 17 laps to go.
And Chelimo, this 19-year-old, he spent much of the winter training in London. He was on the cross-country scene. He made an outstanding impact as a junior, winning the World Junior title. And it's Kenya 1, 2, 3 at the moment, because Moses Tanui is in second place, and Osano, who is the Japanese champion, he actually lives in Japan, he'll know these conditions. He's gone third, ahead of Antibo in fourth place. Skah has dropped back to fifth, then Nizigama, who's still in touch, and Ntawulikura trying to stay with that chasing pack. But they're really getting strung out now, and it's not surprising off this kind of pace, Peter.
No, they were inside world record pace. The world record pace at 3,000 metres was 8:06. They were well under that. Well, Chelimo, in fact, is running very steadily. The last 3 laps, interesting to see what it is when he comes up this time. He did after 2,000 metres, he did a 64.6, a 63.9, a 64.5, and I'll have a look what this one is. But he's still got that lead of some 30 metres or so, 9:39.3, so that was a 65.2 lap. Slightly slower, not much.
Well, the two Kenyans still following him. Moses Tanui in second place. Thomas Osano, another youngster, and of course, remember Douglas Wakihuri, the world marathon champion. He too did a lot of his training in Japan, like Osano. Osano, who finished 6th in the Kenyan trials, but was still selected. He's just dropped back a little bit. Antibo, well, to me, Antibo still looks dangerous, and the question still has to be asked whether Chelimo is committing suicide here. We don't know, it's too early, but it's been some demonstration so far, and I stress, so far. Are they just beginning to reel him in a little bit? Maybe it's 5 metres less, maybe 3 metres less than it was a lap or so back. Nothing too significant. 15 laps to go.
This is the 4 kilometre point. He's passed it in 10 minutes 45.89. That's 2 seconds inside 27-minute pace. And the world record is 27 minutes 8.23. But the gap between Chelimo and the chasers has narrowed. It was 30 metres. It's now down to, about little less than 20 metres.
Chelimo 20 metres clear of Moses Tanui in second place. Antibo 3, Skah 4. Osano 5, Ntawulikura 6, Nizigama 7, and Richard Nerurkar, twice the British national cross-country champion, has moved into 8th place. The man who's coached by Bristow, who used to run barefoot to his European 5,000 metre title. And he's taking a lot closer order too, is Nerurkar at this stage.
A very impressive performance by him. If he can improve, keep going at this, he's avoided some of those early surges and he's now tacking on, and he can begin to reel in tired men ahead of him. I like that. I like the way he's running.
14 laps to go in the men's 10,000 metre final. Richard Chelimo, who made that astonishing break, still going at around 27-minute pace. It's almost unbelievable. He's inside world record schedule if he can keep this up, and to me he looks as if he's putting in another surge, if anything.
Well, he's keeping pretty steady actually. I mean, I've just clocked him. He did a 65-second lap. He had a 65.2 and a 65.6. It's steady 65-second laps. But of course, one of the reasons he's getting well ahead of, say, Antibo in third place, because of course the second man is now fairly isolated, Moses Tanui.
Yes, he's the man who, by the way, who beat Chelimo to win the Kenyan title. Tanui, the Commonwealth Games silver medalist, and has finished second in the world cross country. Chelimo won. Tanui is now clear on his own in second place. Then Antibo and Skah, who were involved in that memorable race in Oslo when Skah outkicked Antibo. But those two now are something like 45-50 metres behind the leader Chelimo. Still in touch in fifth place Osano. Then the next gap to Nizigama, Nerurkar and Ntawulikura.
A little bit slower then for Chelimo, 66.2. Is this the first sign of any crack? I'm fascinated by Khalid Skah's tactics. He's done nothing else but stay behind Antibo. He knows who he thinks is the man to beat.
So Chelimo has tried to take this from the front. He's tried to burn the others off. Will the tactics pay? The crowd watch absolutely enthralled. Another big crowd of something like 40,000. There is Chelimo. He was tipped to be the next big Kenyan find, and he's proved to be.
13 minutes 30.27 at 5,000 metres. An amazing time for halfway. 13:30, that's 27-minute pace. This world record standard race continues.
I think probably, Peter, that's the fastest opening 5,000 metres ever run to a 10,000 metre race, isn't it? Maybe you'll be able to look that up for us.
Well, I think there was a 13:29 once when there was a blow up then in that great race last year when Antibo was trying for a world record, and of course then after that Hammou Boutayeb wouldn't have any of this and wouldn't go along with that pace, and it was tactical thereafter.
Chelimo still ploughing his furrow up front, but Moses Tanui is just beginning to reel ever closer. Each lap he just looks about a metre or so closer. Antibo and Skah locked together in third and fourth. Will they still have a big role to play in the finish, you wonder? I certainly wouldn't write them out of it at this stage. We're only just past halfway. Osano is fifth, Nerurkar, Britain, sixth, Nizigama is in seventh place, and Ntawulikura from Rwanda is eighth. Those are the leading eight. There's a big gap back to the others. Eamonn Martin, the Commonwealth champion, I think it's fair to say at this stage, is out of any kind of medal contention.
Eamonn Martin is out. His teammate Richard Nerurkar very definitely is not. He's up to sixth place. He's been reeling them out. So it's Chelimo coming up with 11 laps to go, some 25 metres ahead of Moses Tanui. Then some, 40 metres back to a group of four. Osano, Skah, Antibo and Nerurkar.
But there is Chelimo, only a teenager still, the number one in the world of 1991, but will he be number one at the World Championships? Moses Tanui chasing him in second place, and the gap's down to about 15 metres this time. But will Chelimo surge again in the great tradition of the African distance runner? Is he taking a little rest in front? Is he going to play a cruel game on Tanui, let Tanui get close and then go away from him again? That could happen too. Coming around with 10 laps to go in the World Championship, Men 10,000 metre Championship, and it's Richard Chelimo of Kenya who has the lead. He's been running at world record pace. Moses Tanui, his fellow Kenyan, is getting closer though, and then there's a gap back to Osano, the other Kenyan, who's in third. Richard Nerurkar of Britain running a stormer in fourth. Khalid Skah is fifth, and Antibo has dropped back to 8th place, and I think it's all over for him.
It's all over for Antibo, but Chelimo's pace is slowing. He went through halfway in 13 minutes 30.27. That's almost spot on 27-minute pace, but against that pace he lost a whole 7 seconds as he went through 6 kilometers in 18:88. He's slowing. Antibo is slowing drastically. He tried surging early in the race and he's paying for it, and I suspect he'll drop out fairly soon. Meanwhile, up front, Richard Chelimo still leading some 15 meters ahead of Moses Tanui. Then that gap back to the next 3 now, some 40 meters down. But Chelimo is slowing. There they are, the next 3, Osano and Nerurkar and Skah. Well, Skah had been looking for Antibo all the way, tracking him, doesn't know quite what he's going to do. Now he's going to go past them and he's going to try and gain ground. Skah is on his own now, going shooting past into 3rd place.
Just under 9 to go, and Moses Tanui is getting closer and closer and closer now to Richard Chelimo, and he's almost with him. And Chelimo, is he going to pay the price? There is Salvatore Antibo of Italy. It all went wrong for him at the last World Championships when he was 16th. He wasn't right, and he's paid the price for trying to go with the Africans here. Chelimo and Moses Tanui, the Kenyans, well, we thought they'd be a force in this race, and that's exactly the way it's proved to be. But I wouldn't completely write off the fellows in 3rd, 4th and 5th here either. The local director in Tokyo concentrating on those 2, but Osano and Skah and Nerurkar may well get closer and closer to those 2 as well, because Tanui must have expended a lot of energy pulling Chelimo back, although Chelimo has been slowing, as Peter's been telling you.
Chelimo's slowing. Tanui's expended the energy in catching him. They're still looking pretty good, but there's been a more sensible pace, you could say, by the trackers. And Khalid Skah keeps surging past that. He's trying to lead the chase now. These 2, some 40 meters ahead. The other 3 have just passed the finishing post, which says 8 laps to go.
And it's getting to the point now in this race where Khalid Skah, if he wants a gold medal, has now got to start to do something about pulling these Kenyans back in. Peter, how's the time looking now?
Well, I think they're going to be outside the world record schedule now. It's been slipping back quite drastically. The 27-minute schedule was 18:54 at 7K, and there's the time, 19 minutes 10.69. So not surprisingly, it's not going to be a world record. I think it was far too fast to start with. They were way inside world record schedule the first 2 laps, and Chelimo is paying the penalty for that. Mind you, he's got company, and that will help.
Chelimo and Tanui goes to the front now. Moses Tanui, the Commonwealth Games silver medalist and the Kenyan champion, now leads 19-year-old Richard Chelimo. 7 laps to go in the World Championship 10,000 meters. Moses Tanui, 1, Kenya. 2, Richard Chelimo, also Kenya. 3, Thomas Osano, also Kenya. 4, Khalid Skah, Morocco. 5, Richard Nerurkar, Britain.
Yep, and here are these 2, Tanui and Chelimo, the 2 Kenyans, and it'll be fascinating to see whether the gap can be closed. Despite the fact that Chelimo set off at that extravagant pace, passing the 5,000 meter point in 13:30.27, he's now able to take a little bit of a breather as he settles in behind his Kenyan teammate Tanui. That was just what he needed, because he's looking pretty good still.
Incidentally, class athletes like Hammou Boutayeb and Eamonn Martin and Addis Abebe, they've all been run right out of this. They just couldn't live with those early forcing tactics of Chelimo, and they're a long, long way adrift.
So Moses Tanui leading here, when he was the Commonwealth Games silver medalist. If you look across the other side of the track, exactly 200 meters behind him, he would see the Commonwealth Games gold medalist Eamonn Martin. 6 laps to go. 20 minutes, 53.29 says the scoreboard. Here comes the chasing group. Khalid Skah getting away from them a little bit. Osano some 3 meters down, and then Richard Nerurkar.
Is Skah, the man who does his altitude training up at 5,500 feet in Morocco at a ski resort, is he running the canniest race of all? He's got to start reeling those 2 Kenyans in though quickly. The gap, by the way, between these 2, Tanui 1, Chelimo 2, as you look there at some of the trailers, and they include Salvatore Antibo there, the double European champion in the blue, they're not going to play a part. This is the race that matters, and maybe we'll get a shot in a moment which shows you the gap. It's something like 45 metres between these two and the chasing pack.
And I just timed it. It's 7.5 seconds at the moment.
Well, Chelimo, since Tanui passed him, has held on to him quite significantly, and Chelimo does have something of a kick finish. Whether he can produce it after the speed he showed in the early stages, whether there's anything left for a kick finish, only time is going to tell. But of the two, maybe Chelimo has the bigger kick.
Just past 8 kilometres, 22 minutes, 2.86. That's now 26 seconds outside the 27-minute pace which they were running at for the first 5 kilometres.
And Chelimo's now back in front. Tanui now in second place. But Tanui's not having any of that. He goes back to the front again. They're swapping the lead. Now it's Tanui 1 and Chelimo 2. And that gap back to the chasing group, I think, is just narrowing, but very, very slightly. Skah is no longer third. It's back to Osano third, Skah 4 and Nerurkar 5. The medals are going to be disputed between these two 5, and obviously the two Kenyans now are favourites for gold and silver, but who gets what colour?
The gap did not change on that lap. It's still 7.5 seconds.
Peter with the stopwatch, so sometimes the eyes can deceive, of course. Coming around this time with 4 laps to run. This is the chasing group, and there's the gap. And once again, Moses Tanui is in front. Chelimo is in second place.
It looks to me as if Khalid Skah is settling for the bronze medal. I may be wrong, but he is not leading, and I think he needed to lead the way back to them. And at the moment, those two are still some 40, perhaps even now 50 metres ahead of Osano, Skah and Nerurkar. It looks to me as if Skah is biding his time. Look, going past now, in fact, going past now, out of the picture.
Well, Skah now is beginning to make the effort. But has he left it too late? He maybe senses that those two Kenyans will pay the price. Antibo, I was wondering if the possibility exists that he might be lapped, but I don't think that'll happen. It doesn't look like it. That really would be the ultimate humiliation for him. We'd heard 1 or 2 stories that Antibo wasn't quite right from the Italian camp coming into these championships. And Chelimo goes back to the front. 3 laps to go for the two leaders. Chelimo 1, Tanui 2. Skah is now clear in third place. And then the race for 4th and 5th between Osano and Nerurkar of Britain.
Skah has narrowed the gap, but only a little. It's 6.5 seconds back to Skah, who's definitely has made the effort.
And of course Skah, well, if he can get there to deliver his kick finish, well, it's a murderous one. But that's the big question. Can he? Chelimo, the 19-year-old. Tanui, 26, 7 years older. These two have been running together ever since Tanui reeled Chelimo back to him. Chelimo's attempt to break the field in the first half of the race didn't quite work. Tanui was close enough, and as Chelimo slowly got there, Skah is third. Then Osano and Nerurkar, and those are the only ones really that matter now.
Test of character, and an interesting thing, I saw the taller figure of Tanui look round then. I've not seen Chelimo look round at all. Tanui definitely did look round to see where Skah is. Well, Skah is running down the home straight, but he's not, I think, narrowing the gap. I'll take a watch on it. 2 laps to go.
800 metres under that now for the two leaders. There's Khalid Skah, the Moroccan, in third place, twice the world cross-country champion. Then Nerurkar and Osano.
Skah still 6.5 seconds down. It hasn't changed on the lap 3-2.
Chelimo the leader, Tanui in second place, and now it's who's got the speed in the finish. We've seen Chelimo deliver some devastating kick finishes. Tanui's no slouch though either. But how much did that first half of the race take away from them? Brilliant performance from these Kenyans yet again. We saw it at the Olympic Games in countless races. We saw it in the last World Championships with Paul Kipkoech, and here they are 1 and 2 in the 10,000 metres. Skah, Morocco, is in third place, and when they come round this time going and lapping some of the other runners, they'll get the bell. And as they get the bell in the 10,000 metre final in Tokyo, it's Chelimo who leads with Moses Tanui in second place. Who will press the button first and when?
That's the good question. Khalid Skah now passing, but surely he's far too far down. He's narrowed the gap to 5 seconds, but I don't think he can make up 5 seconds. Can he on the last lap?
Well, it would be tremendous, tremendous. Chelimo did take a little look round that time just to see where Tanui was, and the answer is Tanui's right behind him. Here comes the kick from Chelimo. Striding out now, but he hasn't got away from Tanui. Again, Chelimo looks round. Tanui's right there. He's biding his time. Where is Skah? Answer, getting closer, but not close enough, I think. Under 200 metres to go. Still Chelimo, the 19-year-old. Tanui is poised in the perfect position if he's got the kick to deliver his challenge as they come into the straight. 80 metres to go. Chelimo 1, Tanui 2, Skah is 3. Skah isn't going to get there. Here comes Tanui with his challenge on the outside, and he's out-kicked Chelimo, and it's Moses Tanui who comes storming away to win the gold medal for Kenya. Chelimo gets the silver. Skah wins the bronze medal, and the time is 27 minutes 38.75 seconds. Crossing the line any second now as the celebrations go on. Osano will be fourth, and a brilliant performance from Britain's Richard Nerurkar to take fifth place. Nizigama is in sixth place for Burundi, and Ntawulikura Rwanda will be seventh, and it looks like Hammou Boutayeb of Morocco will be eighth, but it's a Kenyan 1-2, and the gold goes to Moses Tanui, who so often when it's mattered has been second. Not today. He is the world 10,000 metre champion from this moment on.
I can't help thinking that Richard Chelimo's inexperience cost him dear then, because he certainly went off far too fast to start with, as the tail enders put in a fantastic sprint. Look at that 10 Carter, the marathon runner, trying desperately to come up there. But really all eyes are on these amazing Kenyans. There they are. Moses Tanui, world champion, it said. He still had the sprint finish to do a 61-second lap. Andy Bristow there finishing for Great Britain, 28 minutes 48 into the race. Chelimo, I think his inexperience may have cost him a little bit. There's Salvatore Antibo finishing, 28 minutes 52. Gave it his all early, but he wasn't quite fit enough today. The Kenyans are supreme.
I think the conditions really here in the distance races are not going to favour the Europeans at all. Moses Tanui, we were doing a little poll up around the press benches and among some of the experts. Not too many people had him in the first three. It was Chelimo mentioned a lot, and Skah and Antibo. Some people thought Tanui might be in the hunt for the bronze, but not many people tipped him for gold.
Yeah, but maybe they should have looked a bit closer at the form. He beat Chelimo to win the Kenyan title, running just outside 28 minutes in the high altitude of Nairobi. That really should have told us something. As it was, of course, this is rather reminiscent of something like the World Cross Country Championships, with all the Africans dominant. The Kenyans finished 1, 2 and 4, with, of course, just Khalid Skah of Morocco in between them in third place.
And of course, an African-dominated race. They finish in the first 4 places, and Richard Nerurkar, the best of the Europeans, in fifth.
The Africans as well, 6, 7 and 8. And if the Kenyans had put more people in, no doubt there'd be more of them up there as well. There's the result of the 10,000 metres. The Kenyan 1-2, Moses Tanui, setting a personal best of 27 minutes 38.74 to take the gold. Chelimo, the silver medal, and Khalid Skah of Morocco, the bronze.